Racing line. And as you can see, we've got another guest tonight, Daniel Zippy Salmon. I got notified earlier this afternoon that our special guest, Darren Ganji, was having some health issues and sneezing and sniffling and all that, and decided that it might not be the best view for everybody. So he passed, and we'll get him in here another week. And Zippy stepped up and said, yeah, I'll come in and he can talk. So
he can talk. That's for
sure. We're happy to have you, Zippy.
Oh, you say that now, Stevie, but it is an absolute pleasure to be here, sir.
Yeah, thanks, sir. As always, JG2, our coach extraordinaire, will be going over the races from this past weekend, the Formula Vs, Fords, and the SRFs. We tried to do something to make it a little better on the streaming, but still don't have that quite worked out. So we may just talk that through a little bit this week and maybe share some screenshots and stuff. So that may be the way to go on this one. And as Adam joining us down there, Mr. Commentator Extraordinaire. And good to have you back, Adam.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a disheveled mess here. Been out in the sun all day. Just got here probably 15 minutes ago, and I guess now is as good a time of any to say that the video is probably not going to be coming at you guys tonight, but I think we're on the right track here. We're going to be able to get a OBS thing set up for everyone next weekend so we can share video and talk about it and all that good stuff. So yeah, don't worry. We're not going anywhere. It's just
we're getting there.
We're getting there. It's a slow burn. We're doing fine. We're doing fine.
It's a new baby, and we got to learn to crawl before we can walk.
Don't you bring that up, Stevie?
I saw that one coming.
Yeah, had to get that in there. So already in our chat, Guido's saying hello to everybody. So good to see you, Guido. So you ready to kick it off? Start talking some Formula Vs.
Yes, sir. Formula V's at Le Denon. Very disappointed I wasn't able to do that race, as that's a wild track. I've only raced it a couple times, but yeah, it grew on me quickly. Can be very difficult, but lots of blind corners, and I'm sure the guys in the V's had a ton of fun. Yeah, they started. They had 15 drivers on the grid, and a new member of CJ Arnold. The top 8 were together until lap 2, until Alan Degassis spun trying to get past Guido on lap 2. Alan dropped to P8, but still kept it going. Jesus and Guido then tried to run away. Chased by More Human and Jim and Michelle Lynn.
I'm going to go into some screen sharing and show some pictures while you're talking that.
Yeah, Jim put together an actual slideshow, an intentional slideshow for us.
Got a few anyway.
So
now this is not actual video, guys. This is an actual slideshow we got here.
Yeah, and I've only got about 4 or 5, so. But
let's see. So that one, I'm trying to match the
Brewster up there in the middle. I know that. So it's a good track. They had a lot of fun, as always. So. These guys are always 3-4 wide.
Yep, so that's Jim.
Jim.
It looks like Jesus out in front, so I believe that's his car.
Up there. Yep.
So it's probably Guido. I'm gonna guess it's Guido in the blue.
Yeah.
I think the next picture is
the gold is Alan, is what Brian's.
Gotcha.
Straczynski. There we go.
Gotcha.
Blue car was Guido. Yep.
So
there we go.
See, I can't remember the cars, even though I only raced with Guido the one time so far. I think the next picture is turn 2 going horribly wrong for Guido. It's
Guido.
it was a tricky corner in the Formula Fords and the SRFs. So yeah, I'm sure that the Vs didn't find it as much fun either.
I will say that Lebanon, what we covered on SMB, it looks like a simple track, but there is a lot of very minute elevation changes that can really upset the cars around spots you wouldn't expect it to get upset.
Yep. All right,
Yeah,
and then I think
lots of crests and very liberal track limits. Which is what made me fall in love with the track. I love especially the I think it's turn 6. No, not turn 6. Might be turn 7. It's the one where you can run all the way out to the like on the wall out to the gravel. The right-hander. It's kind of a copy of Aqua Minerale from Imola. Where you can run all the way to the gravel, just all 4 wheels off the track. No off tracks or slowdowns or anything. It's just, it's like I love this track now.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased I could do that.
It took a while to get used to, but it's a good one.
Yeah, it looks like
there's your winner.
Came down to the wire. Jesus continues his dominance of the Formula V league. I mean, that's not even close to a photo finish. So, Jim, very disappointed in you.
Still in the shot, but not a photo finish.
Yep.
Looks like, well, what did we? Just under a tenth behind.
You know, it's funny. We mentioned I've heard Jim's name probably 3 or 4 times now, and every SMB broadcast we've had so far, there has not been a Jim Brewster present. So I'm hoping that this Saturday we actually do get to see the man and the myth and the legend at this point that we all think of Jim Brewster.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's been running the Formula V Weekend Warriors for a couple of seasons now. So I have to work Saturday, so pass it off to him, and he's doing a good job. Really appreciate it.
Sure.
But Jesus dominating Jim. Jimmy's up there in second. Alan DeGassis third. Brian Straczynski. Less than a tenth. Brian Straczynski is a real world Formula V driver, so it's great to see them in here. And Daniel.
I think last week was his might have been
first
his first race.
He'll tell us in a second. So. Yeah.
Now, Stevie, remind me, we need to talk about some real world drivers that had some races this weekend. That was kind of a big deal. So we'll remember to talk about that after all.
We definitely will. Yeah. So there's your results. Let's see.
Michelle had a good finish too. Let's go, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're going to be talking about Michelle here in just a second.
Okay.
But let's see. We're going to throw up some points. If I can find the share again. I'm still learning this thing. Bear with me, guys.
Me too.
Yeah. Riverside's a little different. Riverside's a little different to work with our streaming. There you go. There's the overall, guys.
Alan's closed in a little bit.
9 counted races too, right? So this is, I mean, basically, Jesus.
Yep, all of them. All 8 of them have 9. So it's some good participation.
Yeah. I mean, this is, I don't know. Jesus has to have a really bad week, I think, at this point, from what it's looking like, right?
Yeah, it depends on what his throwaway is.
Yeah, he's pretty much already at max points. And Alan has 805, so I don't think he has that many bad drop weeks. So I have to look into it, but I doubt Alan could actually make up that gap. Just 2 drop weeks. You'd have to have
now watch him. Alan's gonna clip this. Right?
Yeah. He's going to prove us wrong.
The race. He's going to get his points, and he's going to just show all of us.
Yeah. And then Michelle's Spec 2 driver up there in the midst of the one guys, and we'll see that here in just a second. I'll go to the classes.
While you do that, I want to give a massive shout out to Michelle as well. Been rooting everybody on through the YouTubes. Been talking to us, for the FF races and the SRF races. It's always Michelle in there, just chatting it away with everybody in there. Michelle. So, Michelle, if you're listening to this, thank you so much for.
Yep, she's there. She's there and says hi. Chat. Yep.
Yeah, correcting y'all and or giving y'all some information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever you have questions or anything. So
yeah.
I wish she was driving with us, but having her in the chat is just as good. So
absolutely.
No, and that was one thing I was really hoping this podcast would bring out is get some interaction with our Weekend Warrior members and the people that follow us and everything in the chat, so we can interact with them as well. So that's great. But there's your spec 1.
Yep.
Oh.
Jimmy Brewster hanging there in 3rd. I think the podium's pretty well set in that class.
Mm-hmm. Although Guido probably has a lower drop week, being at 653. Yeah. So if he gets, but he would probably need to get like a win, lead the most laps, get a 0x,
get some bonus.
Yeah. So the maximum amount of points, and I guess we'll go into this as well for the Formula Ford and the SRF, but is 106, and that's with the race win, lead the most laps in class, and get a 0x.
Yeah. So,
and you've just got to hope that the person that you're racing is not there or doesn't do very well.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's your spec 2 class, and
that's a little closer.
It's a little closer. Michelle's got a 30-point buffer back to Gary Woolbolt.
What do you think, Michelle? You think you got it?
Yeah. So
I don't want to. I'm rooting for Michelle. I'm also rooting for Gary.
Yeah. Gary's been around a long time.
Yeah, Gary's awesome as well. I can't root against any of either of them, but so I'm rooting for both of them.
Yeah. Let's end it in a dead heat. No, Michelle wants to win the championship. I know.
Oh yeah.
Gary's not here to defend himself. Michelle is. So.
I know.
There you go.
That's why I did it.
Yeah. All right. Formula V's down. Let's go Formula Fords.
Where were we at? Oh yeah, we're at Zandvoort. Oh my god, that track was so much fun to drive in the Formula Fords. I enjoyed it way more than the SRFs.
Yeah.
Just because, especially because we're doing the full layout. The Sector 2, like master box, and then the turn onto the back straight. When you nailed it in the Formula Ford, it was so satisfying. So, had some controversy in that race though, with the at the front. With James and
Soren Getz, I think.
Soren, yeah.
Oh, Soren. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember that now.
Yeah, a little bit of kind of unnecessarily close line or tight line through turn 1.
Kept squeezing him down a little more and more every lap. So
yeah.
That's
And I saw that coming for the couple laps preceding it. I think the lap before they actually banged wheels.
They did.
And then they were even closer in the following lap. And
I'm watching my broadcast back right now, and I guess the first thing I want to. Sorry, I'm cutting you off here, Jason,
you're good,
but I just want to talk about my camera work here in the production booth.
Yeah, you're doing good.
As Wilkie goes driving through the sand and has absolutely nowhere to go.
Oh, that was
York
so good.
Comes across.
That was perfect.
I mean, it's unfortunate too that happens, but I mean, that's one of those things that you notice with this track a lot, especially again. I'm mentioning that chicane.
It's always that chicane.
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, that was so active last week in the SRF. So. Yep.
More so in the exit than the entry this time. But yeah, it was so easy to dip a wheel on the grass there.
Yep.
and yeah, you just if you don't lift off, you're gonna spin off across the track. But yeah, that was so good.
Right.
And I'm sad we don't have the video because I think later as well I included a part where Dan was begging you to swap to Antonio.
Yes. Yes.
And you just kept I think you had it on me, and Dan was like, "Well, we like watching Jason Green out on the track, but we really want to see Antonio in P2, not like the P2."
Yeah.
And then you cut to Soren's pit stop where nothing happens.
Yeah.
So there was so if we can expound on that just a little bit on what was going on there. And yeah, Zippy, it's so choppy, man. Don't even worry about it. But
Okay.
Yeah.
when it's so I couldn't talk about this obviously in the chat, and I'm gonna try to not offend too many people. So my dog.
I know what's coming here.
It was nice enough outside that I was able to leave my back door open. So I turn around right as we hit go live, which Zippy it's just now started leading in. I turn around and there's a rabbit behind me. A rabbit that has seen and felt better days. So at this point, I just take this rabbit and I put it back outside because I'm in the middle of this broadcast. So there were a few points that I had to go outside and make sure, because I put the rabbit on top of a bush so my dog couldn't get to it again. So I had to go out and I had to keep checking on this rabbit. And then I ended up expelling of the rabbit after the race, but there were some things that were happening during that race. It was an interesting day. Okay, guys, I can tell you that.
I really think Adam undersold that description personally.
Yeah.
So as a commentator, don't get me wrong, this is kind of like a you gotta be kidding me moment, but we had live play-by-play updates of what happened to Bugs Bunny, and it's fair to say that Elmer Fudd over here, he did his due diligence. He told the neighbors showing a house, he told the sheriff's department, and he actually managed to shoot the rabbit cleanly. Which surprising, I didn't think the guy had that kind of aim, but
well, that was the worst part too, because the people were showing the house right next door. So now I've got this. It was bad. It was a bad deal for everybody involved, including the rabbit and my dog, which I couldn't get too mad at because he's a dog. But anyway, sorry. Back to the race.
All right. So now we get through we can get through the Formula Ford race now. Yeah.
So good.
Awesome.
So good.
But yeah, so it was the Soren issue, which I just watched. That was tight. I think Andrew Lau ended up getting caught up in that as well, which was there was nothing. Andrew really had nothing to do with that, but I mean, still, it was a good race all the way up, pretty close till the end. I mean, Jason, you may have been a little bit quicker. Everyone's like, yeah, I know we love watching Jason Green.
I mean, I got super lucky. I was maybe the fifth fastest car there. Who is it behind me?
Daniel Tufts.
Yeah, Daniel Tufts. He was quicker. I just had too big of a gap on him.
Right.
After the pit stops. I mean, when I came out of the pit stops, I noticed Soren hadn't gotten going yet, so I thought he had a slow pit stop. As I went past him, I heard him rev his engine. So I was like, oh, he just took off. So he's beside me. Where is he? So I'm looking around. He's not my relative. I'm like, did he just disappear or disconnect or something?
Right.
So I was asking on Discord, and they're like, oh no, he's still in the pits. I'm like, oh, okay then. So yeah, I had too big of a gap. Realistically, I was struggling to hang on to James and Andrew. I was barely hanging on to their draft. So yeah, so super lucky.
So what happened to
super
Antonio?
Unfortunate to James.
Exactly.
I mean, he pitted super early. I remember seeing him pit, and then 2 laps later is when my pit window opened. And I was saving fuel while I was in there, James and Andrew's draft. So I don't know for sure, but it seems like he pit too early. He couldn't take enough fuel at that point, so he ran out of fuel.
Antonio's good at that.
Yeah, and he really shouldn't be doing as well as he is with that strategy with the caveat of in the Formula Fords. SRS is fine.
Yeah,
but
somebody had to take over mine.
Yeah.
Somebody take it.
But so in
Let
in
it be
Formula
known when the
Fords,
pit. Yeah,
the
it's different.
the car
there is a
gets
difference.
faster as the stint goes on.
Right.
So as the
There is a
tires warm
difference.
up, the fuel burns off, the Formula 4 gets faster and faster and faster and faster. So all other things being equal, the fastest strategy is to run it to the end, pit, and you'll
A
have less
little
fuel
bit.
in the car,
Yep.
and then finish the race.
Yep.
So the only way that pitting early in the Formula 4s will be faster is if other people are, racing each other and holding each other up. So
Right.
so it working so well for Antonio just shows you how fast he is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
When he shouldn't be passing people with that strategy, and he still is. So
No,
so yeah, very awesome pace from Antonio.
he's found something that none of us have. So.
And quick shout out to you, Stevie, by the way, for running Antonio off into the gravel. We are definitely blaming you for everything that happened there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was not us. You mentioned Antonio.
Oh,
We went to
yes.
or Andrew,
See,
sorry, for
I
running
included
Andrew
that in my
off.
highlights as well.
Yeah, I mentioned him in the
there
chat.
was,
And boom.
Yep, he's gone, just like that.
Yeah.
Andrew Love. Yeah, it was Andrew Love when you're like, Andrew is a master driver that chooses race.
Yeah,
S2.
it was Andrew. Yeah.
And as soon as the camera went on him, he spun coming into the back straight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think it's Randall's fault. It always happens when it's on Randall. So,
like Randall said, we get blamed for a lot. So whenever we can pass the buck, we will. So we're gonna every single one of us are passing that one over to Steve.
And Zippy had a good line to the what was it, the Stevie shotgun.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So hang on a second. We had a pistol from Adam, a shotgun from Stevie. We bring a bazooka next round.
Yeah, we get a cannon in there or something.
Yeah. Acme sponsored this broadcast.
All right.
SRFs.
Now let's
for the
throw out
results.
some points.
Huge. But results. Huge shout out to Michael McConnell with his first podium of the season. Let's go, Michael.
Yep.
He was super hyped about that, and I was hyped for him as well. He had a rough start to the season, lots of bad luck, and he's slowly been improving over the course of the season. So let's go. Podium towards the end of the season. Jeff Jacobson as well in P4.
Yep.
So hyped for that. I noticed halfway through the race that he was in fifth, which is way higher, and I think he started in like 13th or something. So I noticed that, and I was like, "Oh, he's doing well today." But I'm not going to say anything over Discord. But yeah, he manages to bring it home P4, and I think Brad Cathart in P5, P6 as well. So
I want to talk about Jeff real quick
finishes.
too, as well. I mean, in the Formula V race there at Zandvoort, he won the race. He's good at Zandvoort.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize how fast he was lapping, but I watched his recording today, and he was lapping the same lap times as me. So yeah, he was killing it. So
all right,
points.
So there's your overall points, and it looks close.
It looks close. That's true.
It looks close. 6 points.
So if James scores 0 points again, then it's close.
That's the only way, huh?
Yeah. So
he's got a bad one.
Lowest race week this far, even though he has 9 races, is a 0 points race. So with if we have a grid of 30 cars, if he finishes in last place, he will probably score like 50 points.
Yeah.
The most amount of points I can possibly gain is like 30. So James just has to finish the race essentially, and he'll take it. So, which is well deserved. There is no reason I should be 6 points away from him at this point in the season. He's been absolutely flying this season. Got super unlucky last week. I'm confident that he can bring it home in the last race of the season.
And you got Antonio Reese up there, 3rd in the overall. So overall
flying.
podium.
He is
Overall
absolutely.
podium.
I mean, like Jason said, there's absolutely no reason why he can do what he can do with those pit strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Bit him in the butt this time, but I mean,
Yep.
there for a while, him and Jurg were close. Not no more.
To bring up the highlights again, right at the end, I think that's my new favorite thing when somebody pits right at the end of the race.
Just confuses
Yeah.
all of us.
Well, specifically the confusion from Zippy.
Yes.
It's like the absolute disappointment and consternation just coming through him is just I think it's my new favorite thing on the broadcast. It's so funny. It's so good.
Damn. Okay. I'm gonna be remembered.
Right?
Yeah, there you go.
Imola
Yep.
and this week is Zandvoort when Antonio just is fighting for position and then just goes straight
Gone.
Gone. Yeah.
Drops the mic.
Oh, but yeah, sorry, I had to mention that as well.
So right there's your Spec 1 class real quick. And let's throw up some Spec 2 numbers.
Oh, David Foy had a good finish
Yes.
as well this
Yes.
week.
He's taken this at this point. That is David Foy's championship.
Yeah. He's almost 100 points out.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it'd be hard
Just
to
pretty much get that
overcome.
wrapped up.
All right, and let's throw some Masters up there.
The Masters is probably my favorite division. I think it's absolutely awesome that you guys have like a section for people who are literally over 60. Like that is fantastic.
The guys were laughing at me when we first created the Masters, saying that I needed a class where I could run with them. and originally I could, but now they kind of got off and left me. So, but yeah, that's been one of my things to highlight, that even though you get older, you can still have fun and be competitive and enjoy this, and that's what our Master guys are showing.
Yep, especially Antonio and Monty. They're both like 5-6K I rating. And realistically they can compete for wins in Spec 1 and just overall. So they both super quick drivers. And Brad made up some ground, I think, with his finish. He got the Masters win this time around. After Antonio.
If Jorg has a bad day again, if he can't break that bad luck streak, Brad's going to be right there.
Let's go, Brad.
Jurg's got the best paint job though. Like it cracks me up every time I see it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You weren't commenting when we first roll up, or when Antonio first rolled those out. So I think we had 5 or 6 people running. Different variations.
Jason had a green one just like it.
Simon Mayer was running one. And we had 5 or 6 cars running. It was great. So yeah, it's
Maybe I'll have to do a race where I supply a load of regulars with paint jobs and not tell you what they are.
Oh no!
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. While we got a second, I want to say hi to Andrew in the chat.
And apologize to him, right?
And apologize to him, Stevie?
No, it's not Andrew Love.
Andrew Lau.
Andrew Lau, he said he did get taken out and it meatballed him, and said Michelle Lynn's there, Flavio Andala. So good to see all you guys in the chat.
Flavio,
Brian Straczynski. So
Andrew was just slightly too close. Me being slower saved me there. And Andrew was too fast, and he was too close to the incident. So
that's what you get for being too fast, Andrew.
Yeah. All right, surfs or SRFs or whatever you want to call them.
At Navarra this week, that race was brutal.
That's what I heard on the interview.
To start with, the race being at 1 p.m. Sim time.
It got hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like 100-degree track temp. Or 40 degrees C.
And to expand on that real quick, we do have different times of days in all of our sessions in the Weekend Warriors. I mean, practice is early morning from 8 to 10 a.m. and then qualifying is like 11 a.m. and then we race it between 1 and 2 p.m. whatever I happen to hit.
Yep.
So it's you get a different track on the race than you did qualifying.
Yep. Sure. Yeah. So the track temp was double what it was in practice.
Wow.
To give you context. So it caught a ton of people out, myself included. Both Felix and I into turn 1 or turn 2 and 3, we both screwed up that corner. We both overshot it. And the only reason we didn't crash is because we both messed it up. So if I had not messed up the corner, Felix would have run into me. So yeah, it worked out. But it was like driving on ice. And in the SRFs, the peak performance of that car is right out of the pit stall. You want the tires as cold as possible, and they overheat just doing a slow outlap, pretty much. So once you have one slide, tires are overheated, and in that warm of a track, it was just you were driving defensive, pretty much against the track, let alone trying to race other drivers. So very, very difficult, but also huge shout out to everybody, because we only had 3 drive-throughs, even though getting off tracks or staying on the track there was very, very difficult. So only 3 drive-throughs. So well done, everybody. Sure. I was expecting a lot more than that, to be honest.
Yeah, I know you guys. We had quite a few people mention, they weren't looking forward to this track. They hated this track, but I mean, the racing was good. The
racing is great there.
Made great racing. It really did. I'm not a huge fan of the track either, if I'm being honest with you.
I like that, but it's my kind of track.
Yeah. It made for good racing. It really did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Super technical track. But yeah, I was kind of surprised in how good the racing was. In the officials this week, it was great. And the battling is surprisingly good there. So, it creates surprisingly creates very good racing. Not quite the level that we'll have at Olden Park this week, but yeah, it was definitely a challenge. Felix was able to he got Maurizio in the pit stops. Another note: lots of issues with fuel. Not like last week at Nords, where everybody underfueled. Everybody actually overfueled this time. I think I had the fastest pit stop, or Felix and I had about the same, and I overfueled by a lap. So
I think it may have been Randall that said something about, for some reason this week in both the FFs and the SRFs, it seemed like there was, I don't know if there was an update or like what was going on, but the fuel thing was way different this week. You guys have been on top of it every week so far, but this week you could tell like there were definitely some issues that weren't around.
Yeah. So pretty much everybody overfueled this time around. And just we don't have a lot of historical data. It's the first time we raced that track, and it was right on the crossover between 21 and 22 laps. So pretty much everybody's fuel calculators went to 22 laps. So and it overfueled. So kind of kicking myself a little bit, because if I didn't overfuel, I might have been in Maurizio's draft to be able to fight for P2 and out of Alish's draft, or Alish would be out of my draft. But yeah, we had a good battle, Alish and I. Last couple laps, he overtook me with 2 laps to go, and which I was fine with, because I was like, okay, I'll just drive past you on the front straight on the white flag lap, and then I proceed to lock up going into sector 2, and I fall a second behind him. So I was able to get within 3/10 by the line, but I was just too far away.
Big shout out to Fritcher, by the way. First time I've seen him up here in the Masters as a winner, so that was pretty cool to see. Someone other than Jurg or Antonio.
Yeah. We'll talk about him in a minute too. So he's coming up.
Yeah. So and he was also he was probably quicker than me, to be honest. He caught him past me at the beginning of the race. I think he just also had a slow pit stop, which dropped him a little far back. But yeah, he was in the official races this week. He was super quick as well. We were battling super hard on the Monday race. So
and then Wilkie, of course.
And then Wilkie.
We have to mention Wilkie in the.
I think he got he got the Spec 2 win this week.
Yeah. He's coming on too.
I think something like that.
He's another one we'll get to here in a minute.
Just wait, Joshua. When you get married, you get slower. Don't ask me how I know.
All right, so there's your points.
It's not over for Spec 1. If
Yeah.
If I don't improve, Alish needs 104 points to tie and 105 to pass. So he needs to win, essentially.
Yeah.
100 points for a win. So he needs a win and either lead the most laps to get 2 points, 2 bonus points, and then a 1x, essentially. 1x or
So-
0x. So it's 106 maximum that you can get from a race. So he pretty much needs the maximum.
So you're going to be there trying to take some away from him this time, huh?
Yeah. Or if I finish in 4th, then he can't catch me.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's still possible, and Alish 100% can do it. And anything's possible at Olden Park, so it'll be
So
wild.
4th or better for you basically locks it in. That's
Yep.
really the big thing.
That's
here
what
is
we need.
4th,
Yep.
4th place or better.
Which
Okay.
is no guarantee at Olden Park. It's going to be crazy
Yep.
based on the race we had last night.
So there's just the spec one, and it's a 2-horse.
The
Dude's
P3's
falling off.
getting close.
Yeah, 9 points for P3. So Joshua, Justice, and Dan Wood having a good.
And I think Josh had a good race. Dan
Yeah.
as well. They both
Josh
had
came
solid
home
races.
8th. Dan came home 6th. So
Joshua has improved his pace this season, and he got a new wheel, so he says that's made a ton of difference for him.
it does. It
So,
does.
Yep.
And
Wheel-
I
Dan
can
wheel
vouch
as
for
well
that
had a
too.
huge improvement.
Yep.
The even though he is the British guy living in Mexico.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. All right.
Nothing
here's
wrong
the
with
spec
British
two.
immigrants, guys.
Hey, I was over there for a while too, so I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I spent 5 years over in England, so
Ooh.
with Uncle Sam. But
That's
there you
rough,
go.
though.
There's the spec 2, and I had a little background information on this one.
Okay.
Mr. Andrew Love and Jim Brewster got their heads together tonight and started doing all the number crunching and what if and how. And Russell Telker is pretty much out of the picture.
Okay.
And you got a pretty good gap to Andrew, but Joshua Wilkie can overtake Andrew Love with an 8th place or better.
No way.
Yeah. If he finishes 9th or 10th and gets some bonus points, he could overtake Andrew. Andrew won't be there this week. He's working a real world race at Summit Point this week, so he's not going to be there to improve anything.
We got some spicy stuff to talk about this week.
Yeah. You got to watch Wilkie, see if he can finish 8th or better.
What's he doing
I
at
don't
Summit
think-
Point, Stevie?
He works sound control for all the races out there. He's been doing it for like decades. So,
wow. Cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
All right, Masters.
And let's kick it over here to Masters.
I think
Okay.
Fritcher is coming on strong.
Look at
At the end
that.
of the season.
Fritcher has 8 races.
So how close
The
is
other
this
two have
actually?
9.
I mean, so this is when the drop weeks start coming in, right? So you see
Oh, big, yeah.
Fritcher with
8 and 9's the most races. So
this is anybody. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
Fritcher with that finish and that 5th place finish has put him squarely into contention. So from
he's
what I'm
going to get
looking
full points this week.
Yeah.
Whatever he gets full points. The other two only get the difference between their worst finish and if they do better this week.
wow. So Fritcher needs another good one then.
Yeah, Manny's not out of it yet, though. He's definitely had some bad luck, but he just needs to keep the car clean, and
Yeah.
I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, no, this one can come down to the wire.
And again, to mention for Monty in the SRFs, he's been starting from the back. He hasn't setting quality times for the SRF this season, so he hasn't the Formula Fords, and he's actually had worse luck doing that. So him having that many points from starting from the back every race
It's
is
pretty good.
super
Yep.
impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
All right.
it's pretty much a toss up there. Both Antonio and Monty can vastly improve their points
Yeah.
totals with a top 5 finish or something. So so yeah, it's who knows what'll happen there.
yeah, that can
All right. So
that's a toss-up.
So quickly before we move on here, how quickly can these numbers get crunched at the end of the race? And there's a reason I'm asking that.
Yes, Stevie. How quickly can you do it?
Oh man, I can. I can input it to extreme, and if I don't have to make a whole lot of ads, it can be pretty quick.
So when it comes,
and I'll make a point of that.
Yeah. So when it comes to obviously, it's going to be the last race for the last official for the season.
Yeah.
I want to try to get the winners in there for class as well if we can. So that's going to be. I know it's going to be tough to do for you guys, but I want to put it out on the podcast that if we can get the winners for the class,
as soon as we get a finish, and I can import that into Extreme, I'll give it to you.
Okay, perfect.
So we'll see.
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good last weekend for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you know what comes after that?
Labor Day.
Week 13.
Oh, that's
Right on. That will be spicy. That's going to be
Week 13 is coming, guys. And,
tell us about it, Stevie.
Yeah.
But not all of it.
I'm not going to share all of it.
There you go.
Week 13, we've customarily had a thing called the big grid or the vRunoffs big grid. This will be the 42nd time. So that's over 10 years worth. A couple of them got skipped a little back in the day, but a guy named Luca Verani who does IGP Fun started it with the SRFs back in the day, like 2014 or whatever, and did it for a few seasons, and then I picked it up. And we have a special event. We throw it out there, open it up to non-league members. Everybody come in. We get the biggest grid we can get and just go for it and have some fun. A little different format every year, whatever comes up. A couple of seasons ago, when they brought out rain, we had 54 Formula Fords at Okayama for the very first big grid rain race. So that was
wild.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah. Last season, we had our first nighttime race with the SRFs.
And he set it to a monsoon rain, by the way.
Yeah. Well,
before they nerfed the monsoon. So it was.
You didn't know. I mean, it was brand new. Yeah. You're setting it up. You had no clue what you were getting when you set it up. So that was definitely a learning curve. But it was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
This season, I got the idea of an Ironman or something like that going in my pea brain and decided we're going to create something called the Ultimate Challenge. And we're going to have 3 races, all 3 of our Weekend Warrior classes, the Formula V, the Formula Ford 1600, and the SRF. You can race 1, you can race 2, or all 3, but you're going to get bonus points for doing 2 or 3 races, 5 for your second, 15 for the third race, using the Weekend Warrior point structure. So we'll total them up, cumulative points. And I'm not telling you where we're going.
Oh, no.
I've had some teasers put out there. Let's see if I can share this screen here and talk about it. I put some teasers out with some hints. So there's some hints out there. But this is what I'm calling the Ultimate Challenge. Race 1, Formula V's. We're going to have a 4-lap qualifying, whatever track that they happen to be at, and race for 25 minutes. When we go to race 2, we'll start with a 10-minute warm-up. I'll put that out there first. A 10-minute warm-up, and then qual, and then race. You're going to jump into the Formula Ford 1600 race. We're going to have about a 15-minute break in between, and Adam, Zippy, these guys are going to throw up some stuff and have some fun for a while I'm manually setting the grid based on results from the previous race.
From where?
From the previous race. So
yeah, but where's that going to be, Stevie?
I'm not telling you that one's going to be either. It will be at a different track. It will be a different environment. So you're going to have different tracks, different environments for all 3. And you're going to start based on where you finished the previous race. If you didn't do the previous race, you're just going to start in the back.
Okay.
So there's 25 minutes for the Formula Fords, and then we'll have a break, and then we'll go to the SRFs. Again, no qualifying, 10-minute warm-up, wherever that is, a different track, different environment, and I'll set the grid for that. And if you don't do it, you start in the back, like I said, and we're going to have a 30-minute race for them. So it ought to be a lot of fun. It's going to be challenging. Yeah, I said I'm calling it the ultimate challenge this season.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one for sure. I can't give anything away either if Stevie won't give it away, but I can tell you right now that if you guys haven't yet, and if you're looking for something to do for week 13, you should think about joining the Weekend Warriors for this one, because it's gonna be a pretty cool thing he's got going on here.
And that's another thing that I have to key on is everybody must join the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors League. That's the only way I can manually set the grid. This isn't a recruiting race or recruiting gimmick or anything, but that's the only way it will allow me to manually set a grid is based on league members. So everybody has got to join the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warrior League if you haven't. If you want to remove yourself after the race, that's fine. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I need everybody to be a member of the league so I can set the grid.
On the flip side, you wouldn't ever really want to, because let's be real, the Spec Racer Fords are an absolutely fantastic series, and you're going to do this week 13 event, have an absolute blast, watch yourself back on the broadcast, however well or poorly you may do, have the sheer experience of our commentators, and and then you're going to stick around for more. So it's generally a win-win scenario.
Well, thanks, Zippy, and yeah, the Weekend Warriors, the Spec Racer Ford League has been around since 2015. So we've been around a long time, and we keep tweaking and changing here and there just a little bit, and I think we got a pretty good format. So yeah, there you go. Community. Yeah, it's great. It is definitely one of the best communities you can find. So there you go. There's our Week 13 Ultimate Challenge to throw out to you guys.
Can't wait. It's going to be wild.
It will. It's a lot, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and that's what this is all about. Let's just have some fun.
Sure.
And I'm going to throw out a pick to win if she's there.
Okay.
That should clue you into who I think is going to win. Just based on the format of not knowing what you're going to be getting into and having 10 minutes of practice. If Megan's there, I expect her to dominate.
I was going to say, is it the woman that almost won in her first race ever in a Mini Cooper this weekend?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, Megan Overstreet.
Yeah. So if she's there, I expect
no pressure, Megan.
But Megan, you should call in sick and work at work. So
That's a pretty good bet. She always does good the first time forever.
Yeah, we're offering real poor odds on that one.
Yeah. We were talking to her last week, and it's like she said, if you don't know, you can't be scared. Just send it.
Yeah.
I'm looking here now because I've got, obviously I'm getting on Facebook here, which if you guys are part of the Ray Esports Leagues, any of them, and you're not part of the Ray Esports Facebook yet, you should probably do that. Because there's a lot of news and stuff that comes through there that I didn't even realize.
Good.
But I do believe that Jim made a post here talking about, if I could figure out how to get to the Ray Esports Facebook page, that'd be great. But there we go. Making a post about the real life drivers that are in the Weekend Warriors, and kind of talking about how they did this weekend. So don't know if you want to go over that at all or not, Stevie.
Oh, we had Megan did her first race and got a podium in her third. She did 3 races over the weekend and kept doing better each time, and got a podium in her third race. So that's awesome. Great start for her.
Let's go, Megan.
Yeah. And then Thor Tula in the UK running Formula V's. I think it was, wasn't it?
That explains why he's so fast. Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah, we got a ton of real world drivers in the Weekend Warriors.
Yeah, love racing with Thor.
Yeah, so we've got Megan, Thor Tulo, and Morgan Burkhardt as well.
Morgan's
that kid's an alien.
Yeah,
like it's alien level quick on the sim and in real life. So
he started running with the SCCA-based league we did when he was 13 years old, kicking everybody's butt. And at 16, he goes out in the real world and puts it on the pole at the runoffs in the Spec Racer Ford the first year.
Damn.
Yeah, and then now he's running the IMSA in the TCR Challenge Series. Is that it? Yeah, he's running Pro Series now.
Yeah,
so,
that sounds about right.
Yeah,
and Trenton Kramer as well.
Trenton Kramer's running the Mini Coopers.
Okay. Oh yeah, Trenton. Yes.
Yeah,
Trenton. I remember Trenton.
Yeah, he runs them for. In fact, he's Frank Swart's right hand man there for Grass Paddock. So yeah, we got a ton.
That's pretty neat. I mean, it just how many people have come through it is crazy, and it's. I don't know. It's just awesome to see. It sucks that we're not able to watch them or broadcast them, but when you see him out there driving the real thing and doing the real thing, it's a big deal.
Dave Ogburn is another one. Raced the Formula Forge with us a couple of seasons ago. He's one of the top 3-4 drivers in the Spec Racer Ford in the real world. He finished third at the podium at the National Runoffs last season. Great guy. He's going to be on here sometime. He does a lot of driver coaching and everything. So. Yeah, good friend of mine. So, yep, it's going to be fun. You guys should join us, the V's Friday night for the draft party. Yeah, the V's have a draft party fun night every Friday night. And it's not necessarily the draft beer kind of party, but who knows?
Oh,
it can be.
Yeah, you know that. Yeah.
Adam's in.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at that. Like, I can get drunk opening a bag of wine gum. So, if it's an endurance race, I'm out.
All right. Well, that's our racing. And Zippy, we've got you here for some reason besides all this stuff is our guest. Every week we have a little discussion with you and find out who you are, what you do, what you've done. And I'm going to steal a page out of Brian Belinsky's playbook. He's the one that does the Inside the SCCA podcast. And his first question to all of his guests is, how did you get started in this crazy thing that we call, and instead of racing, we're going to call it sim racing? What got you involved in sim racing, Zippy?
Okay, so that one is a pretty easy one. I've been playing car games my entire life. I've irritated my parents with cars. Like, even as a kid, I'd name every single car that went past us. Adam's checked out at this point. Thanks for your support, Adam. No,
I think he had to go take care of another rabbit.
Yeah.
Hopefully he muted his mic, or else we're gonna get some,
shots fired. But I ended up getting into iRacing, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. A work colleague actually got me into it, and my first ever laps car combination was at Daytona in an AMG Mercedes, as he was getting ready for the Daytona 24. So I did that. The sheer sound of that AMG sounding like an absolute sledgehammer reverbing in my ears was fantastic. So I bought my first wheel. It's like a G29. I had it strapped to a desk, pushed up against the wall kind of deal, single screen. And that's where I started. I spent a bit of time in rookies, did a couple of officials. And actually, ironically, the first ever iRacing series I really properly competed in was the Spec Racer Fords. And I won my division for that, which was unusual, but a great feeling. I remember Jason Green, and I remember watching him go sailing by. I remember Flavio Andalo. I mean, that was a while ago. We've just been talking in the chat as well. There's quite a few names I recognize. I did that. I ended up getting into endurance racing as well. And I ended up becoming a commentator probably about a year-ish ago. And commentator, director, and I also do a little bit of stand-up comedy.
Couldn't tell.
No, never.
Couldn't tell.
Perfectly suited for it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's interesting to see and hear where everybody gets their start. So, have you done any real world racing?
Okay, so real world racing, just pick up stuff in go-karts and that. Rallycross, I actually have a couple of trophies for.
Okay.
Yeah, don't ask me how I managed that, but it turned out I'm pretty good at that. And then for real life, asphalt, I actually have my my lapping and time attack license, which I did in my Volvo. I did that I snuck in with some Porsche driver days somehow and lapped the box, so that was nice. And then I got my my local club license as well. I've been invited to go drive a race car multiple times, but I've kind of refrained from doing it because it's one of those things. Once you get in, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to give that up. And locally, we have a series called the Track Road Racing Series, and it's done by bracket racing. So if your car does like 116s, you'll be in like GT6, for example, 14.5. And they do it like that because there's not that many cars. There's maybe 15, 20 cars locally. And I could get into a GT6 Fiesta, co-drive that, and there's somebody to play with. And it would be a good hoot, but I'm nervous to get into it. Like next season, maybe we'll see. I've got a BMW that I'm looking forward to waving goodbye of and never going down that road again. And maybe once I got some things paid off, I'll put myself in the hot seat once more.
Well, you got to have videos or it didn't happen. So
exactly.
Oh, I can arrange that. That's not an issue. I commentate the local series. So that I can show you anytime.
Okay. Yeah. Do some real world commentating at the tracks.
Yep. I've been very pleased with that. I'm actually doing September 14th and 15th is the 50th anniversary of Atlantic Motorsport Park. It's a community-owned racetrack, which is very, very rare. I think it's one of the few in North America. And I'll be commentating all weekend. And then on the Saturday evening, when the band has a break, I'm doing stand-up comedy. So if anybody would like to be offended, come on down.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of fun. Can't imagine racers getting involved in that.
Yeah, no, they don't drink between, on a race weekend. They never drink. No, definitely not.
Saturday night.
I've seen some figure 8 races in school buses, and I kind of wonder how they are all sober. I don't think they are.
Yeah, kind of wonder. No, that's awesome. So, well, another obvious question we got for you, Zippy, is you're in Canada, but you obviously sound like a Brit.
Yes.
So what the hell happened?
Well, I identify as exotic, just for your information. And not like, glitter kind of exotic, just exotic. But no, I grew up in a small town in the UK. Not really anything for opportunities. Like there's 7,000 people. If you wanted a job at McDonald's, you'd be fighting like 350 people to get it. Not physically, but, it is a bit of a gong show. And I'll be honest, there was a lot of less desirable people in the town I grew up with. And, no love lost there. As far as I'm concerned, I'm done with that place. But I came to Canada. I had the opportunity. My mum and dad came over. We had 2 dogs that came with us at the time. And I've had a lot of different jobs over here. I've been like a project coordinator. I've been an electrician. I'm a mechanic now. I've been a parts manager, car salesman, all sorts. I built trains. Don't ride the trains in Ottawa. I wouldn't suggest that. It's definitely been an interesting experience for sure. But that's how I ended up here. And when I got here, I'd never been here. And I was completely anonymous until I chose not to be, and that was actually kind of nice for quite a long while. And not now, obviously. I'm infamous in the sim racing world.
You're not now.
Now, Zippy.
I got a feeling I'm going to be renamed Rabbit.
Zippy Rabbit.
I had a bit of an emergency here, Stevie. I don't know if you asked this question or not. I never have.
No, go ahead.
With the nickname.
That's what I was about to ask. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the nickname? So it's Daniel Zippy Salmon, right? Yeah. Why are we calling you Zippy?
I gotta be honest, it's not really that good a story, but you want it, I'll give it.
Because I already asked.
Okay, so back when I was a 3rd-year apprentice electrician, there was me, journeyman, and a van. This is probably the best time I had in electrical, and he was a very colorful character, not politically correct in the slightest. Some of the stuff he'd come out with would be. I didn't realize at the time, but my girlfriend at the time kind of made me aware of just how rude this guy actually was. Like if he saw
I think we can relate. Yeah.
Like if he saw somebody of a little bit of a larger complexion, he'd be along the lines of, if we hit them, jelly's going to come out. Like that's the kind of guy he was, which is it's a little harsh. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he didn't even say which flavor jelly, which is a little disappointing. But so I worked with him, and anyway, like. It was just if he sent me to get something from the van, I'd borderline sprint and get it. Like I've got quite a strong work ethic that Adam's probably picked up on at this point now, and would probably like to sedate me to a small degree. But yeah, I did actually watch one of the old podcasts where you're like, okay, he's coming in, he's really enthusiastic, he's got all this energy, and you can see in your expression that you're happy about this, but also exhausted. It was hilarious. So my boss decided to call me Zippy. I mean, at one point I walked in and I always used to have this one spot I'd stand in the morning, and they put a picture of Sid the Sloth up next to me, and they'd be like, But my sister's already got that nickname said. So, Zippy is what I became. And I actually have the personalized plate for it as well on one of the cars. Ironically, on the Beamer that doesn't move. But that's where the name came from.
I can definitely, I wondered where the nickname obviously came from. And the second I met you, I found out very quickly that if you're not named Zippy for how much, I've never seen somebody that can type so many messages in such a quick amount of time. From the time I lock my phone to the time I turn it back on 30 seconds later, I have 20 unread messages. And all of them are from him. So,
I need to find myself a girlfriend that has the same kind of attention span.
Good luck.
Yeah. Blind, drunk, or desperate. Combination of all three.
Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead, Stevie. I kind of took that one from
No,
you.
you're fine. I was that was a good one.
Then, if we're gonna do this, I got one more for you, Zippy.
Go ahead.
Oh,
all right.
Gosh,
So,
break it to me gently.
No. So slow motion broadcasting, if you guys haven't gone and watched the video, is obviously who broadcast the racing line. Or sorry, not the racing line. Ray Esports, all the Weekend Warriors guys.
Yep.
There's going to be a bit of a change in management here, obviously going from me to you, Daniel. So I guess the first question is, why would you decide to take something over like this? I think as you're starting to get into it a little bit, you're starting to realize it's a lot. There's a lot more to it, I think, than what kind of meets the eye. Obviously, you've got your Pit Road Productions YouTube channel as well. But yeah, there it is right there. But kind of what made you decide to kind of take the jump in on this, like to try it out? And obviously, by the way, I do want to mention here, this is sidebar off the question. The Weekend Warriors ain't going anywhere. It's going to stay on, hopefully, stay on slow motion broadcasting for as long as possible for many years to come. However many years Stevie wants to keep us on there, we're gonna stay with it.
Well, and to tag onto that real quick is I appreciate that. It's great to have a broadcaster, and we've always felt like our broadcasters were part of the community. Mm-hmm. But to have you guys that want us, and Zippy asked me the other day if he was going to be our broadcaster of choice. Yep. And you guys coming to us, it's great. It's going to be a really good partnership. And like you said, you're part of the community.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm glad that we've been able to do that. But anyways, back to you, Zippy.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
Why? What made you decide to take this on?
Finding slow motion broadcasting was a little bit of an accident. Sorry. But I was looking for some more shows. Like as a commentator, it's very easy to find stand-in shows, but to find like a regular season is challenging. And I was literally looking through for the broadcasters who I didn't know, and I Googled, and slow motion broadcasting came up, and I'm thinking, okay, I hadn't heard of them. Check some of the shows. I seen they had Weekend Warriors, and I'm like, get in! Like I literally ran with that league, and then I did what Adam's already described. I blew up his phone.
No, at that point, you can go back and you will see. I think when Zippy found slow motion broadcasting, it was a Weekend Warriors race. Zippy blew up our YouTube chat.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, Zippy.
Yeah, now I can remember. I think I was so enthusiastic that you deferred me over to Tim. Mm-hmm. So like, okay, Tim, he's your problem now. It's like, I don't have time for this guy. Yep. Sorry about that. And so anyway, like now I ended up covering a couple of shows, Weekend Warriors being one of them, like get in and, hang around a bit more. And I'm like, okay, let's do some more. And, Adam asked me, and at this point, I'm like, okay, I've got my Pit Road Productions. Mainly we cater to Britannia iSports, and we cover like the BIS Radicals, the BIS F1600s. These are on Wednesday nights, by the way, not Sundays. And then we also had an IndyCar league, and we made Pit Road Productions to cater to that because we found we'd had one broadcaster that kind of disappeared off the face of the planet and kind of messed around a little bit. Another one where we didn't have like the flexibility that we wanted to make the show as we wanted it. So then Pit Road Productions came around, and anyway, I was looking for more shows, and I was kind of putting my feelers out, checking out like, Race Spot, Apex and stuff like that. And, seeing where I could land. And I didn't want to I wasn't interested in doing like an audition, like a free audition for anybody. If they want to see what work I can do, here's the links, have a look. I've proved myself at this point, I'd say I'm a bit Marmite. I'm not for everybody, but I'm kind of love it or hate it. And, I'm for somebody. Statistically speaking, someone's got to like what I do. But, like I came in and it meant, okay, there's more shows. And not only that, sometimes, when you've had that kind of experience and you've worked with several different sorts of people, several different organizations, you see what works, what doesn't. And, Adam, he's good people. I get on very well with Adam, and he's somebody after my own heart. He's, very professional when he needs to be, definitely a little spicy when it needs to be. I did enjoy our rallycross and my introduction to a couple of people of XSLR.
Me off camera are two totally different people. We will say that.
Yes,
sure.
yes, that's definitely. I'm the same on camera, but depending on the occasion. So now it came about, and I was kind of like, I'm up for the challenge. And Weekend Warriors, honestly, was one of the biggest pulls there because I've run in that series. I've enjoyed that series, and it is without a doubt one of the best communities in iRacing. To get to broadcast that, that's absolutely fantastic. I want to be part of that. So sorry, Adam, you don't get all the credit. Stevie gets a lot of it with the Stevie shotgun.
There you go. Well, I'm glad we're doing this on Stevie's podcast then, because we get stories that I didn't know. I knew you wanted to take it over, but I really didn't even know. Stevie, I'm sorry. I had heard of the Weekend Warriors actually through Jordy Fike.
Okay.
Through Spec 5.
Yeah.
But
I ran with those guys a season.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that big of a deal. And then when I picked you guys up, all of a sudden, everyone's like, "Oh my God, you've got the Weekend Warriors." I was like, "Okay, he's kind of a big deal, I guess."
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not to knock you, Adam. Obviously, you are pretty damn awesome, but he was a big pull as well.
All right, sorry, I'm done. I'm done with the questions.
You guys, my heads,
Yeah.
No. Appreciate that. So
okay, so hang on. Now that we've been inflated, Jason, tell us about being a Spec Racer Ford legend. We've got to kind of bring him up as well. Coach extraordinaire.
I'm not sure where the coach extraordinaire came from, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say legend at all. I'm just I would say I'm still fairly new to the community. But
he's one of our champions.
You're not that new.
Not in the SRF yet. No. In the Formula Ford and the Formula V's, but yeah, and it's
coming.
So happy that I found this community, and found Stevie. His wisdom and cool head to run the community. On the very few occasions where things kick off in the Discord chat, Stevie kind of steps in and just resolves everything. I'm like, I don't know how he's going to do this, and then everything's cool again. So huge shout out to Stevie and everybody in our community and our anytime I get the chance, I can't express how much how awesome our community is and everybody in it. So
that's valid.
I'm just a member of the community, and I'm very grateful to be a part of it. So
I think we all are.
Yeah,
I think we all are.
Well,
yeah, I agree with that.
I say it's you guys and Jason and all the Weekend Warriors are guys in the chat. These are the people that make up the community. I can't do it. One person doesn't make that kind of reputation. So it's a shout out to everybody. So. All right. I think that was a lot of fun. Some interesting stories, Zippy. Some excitement. Yeah, appreciate it. And
I'm going to look innocent at this point.
Yeah.
If anybody can hop in last minute and handle it, then it's Zippy for sure.
Yeah.
I was as soon as because I think it was like 10 minutes before it was when we were like, who's going to join who's going to be our guest? It's like, what about Zippy? And it's like,
I shaved
yes,
for you.
He's like,
wet shave.
Like, we're fine. We're fine. He can handle it.
No, appreciate you stepping in the last minute, Zippy. As I said, it was most definitely a last minute thing. So appreciate it, and a good chance for everybody to get to know you.
Yeah. Well, I'm honestly flattered to be here. To be a guest on a podcast is rather a compliment, actually. So I'll take that.
We would have had you on eventually for sure. So
yeah.
See, now you're just devaluing it a little bit.
Yeah. All right. And with that, for Jason, for Adam, for Zippy here. Thanks to everybody for joining in tonight, and we'll see you on the other side.
Bye, guys.
Thank you very much.